The Bengals have extended both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. To me, this was the right move by Cincinnati. The Eagles this past season showed us that you can pay two great wide receivers and still win a Super Bowl. There is more than just one way to win it all. You don't have to always invest a lot into the defense, have a lead offensive line. The Bengals proved us wrong once when they drafted Jamar Chase out of Penn State. Remember, oh, they drafted a receiver instead of an offensive tackle. How are they going to protect Joe Burrow? Yeah, that same season, they went to the Super Bowl. The core of Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase, they are the only team in the league that has been able to stop the Kansas City Chiefs in the postseason when it's mattered the most. The Ravens with Lamar Jackson haven't been able to do it, and neither have the Buffalo Bills. And by the way, why is it never talked about how Joe Burrow has a playoff win over Josh Allen with both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? The Indianapolis Colts won a Super Bowl in 2006 with a lead offense that was third in points per game and the defense that was 21st in points per game allowed. The New Orleans Saints in 2009, when they won the Super Bowl with Drew Brees, Sean Payton, they took down Peyton Manning and the Colts. They had the number one scoring offense in the league, and they had a defense that was turnover dependent. And they were 20th in points per game allowed. So the Colts and the Saints in the past have won Super Bowls with average defenses. The Bengals, when they went to the Super Bowl a few years ago in Joe Burrow's second season, their defense was slightly above average. You do not need to have an elite defense and sacrifice of having an elite offense. Joe Burrow, with as good as what he is a lot better than what you may think. He is just as good as what Lamar, Allen, and Patrick Mahomes are. He isn't the athletic freak that any of those quarterbacks are, but he's been able to elevate his game to a point where he's so cerebral at getting the ball out fast, but also being able to hold on to the ball long enough for guys to get open. But he also has improved his elusiveness. Now he's able to buy time for guys to get open, but also he can pick up yards with his legs. So he has been able to elevate his game to the point where he can overcome certain limitations. Not having a great offensive line is one of them. In his second season, coming off a broken leg pretty much, he took Cincinnati to the Super Bowl with the offensive line that was full of a bunch of jabronis. That was one of the worst offensive lines in the history of the Super Bowl era to ever make it to that kind of game. Joe Burrow is in the same tier of quarterbacks as what Lamar, Allen, and Mahomes are, which means that when you have that elite quarterback label, you have the ability to win in spite of not having a perfect team. So therefore, why wouldn't the Bengals not buy into his wishes? If he wants to retain his two top pass catchers that helped lead him to the best season from a quarterback last year, why not? At the same time, you can look at this move and say that the Bengals set themselves back several years because they are investing so much of their cap space into this three core guys. They're not going to have that much to suffice to be at least average at other positions. That's cool. Not every position matters when it equates to winning a Super Bowl. Having elite wide receivers and keeping your star quarterback happy matters more when you're in a conference that's home to the majority of the NFL's best quarterbacks and best offenses. You don't need to have a stacked defense to win in the NFL as long as you're able to overcome that with having a good offense and having a kicker that can actually come through in late game situations. When the Patriots went on their first run in the early phases of the Belichick-Brady dynasty, they had Adam Vinatieri. The Bengals extended Evan McPherson before they ever paid Jamar Chase, and the dude choked in 3-4 games. He took several wins away from Cincinnati. There were more reasons for why the Bengals missed the playoffs last year than just their defense being bad. Zach Taylor needs to be better as a head coach. Getting rid of the core, the only one that has been able to beat Kansas City in the postseason, is getting worse. You don't get rid of superstar players in the NFL. The goal of the draft is to find Hall of Fame level players. And the Bengals happen to have two of them at wide receiver. Sometimes you have to sacrifice other areas of the team in favor of the areas that you need to be the strongest in order to win. Not every team needs to be built the same way. Not every Super Bowl team always has elite offensive line play, great corners. Like, you have to be able to strategize over you not being that great at every position. Not every team can be built like the 2025 Philadelphia Eagles. The Bengals re-signing both Higgins and Chase was a move that shows not only are they committed to winning, but they're committed to Joe Burrow. It would have set them back a lifetime if they would have repeated the same mistake they made with Joe Burrow, if they would have did the same with Carson Palmer. So, listen, the Bengals were never going to win in this situation. If they would have let T. Higgins walk away, the narrative would have been, oh, they're not committed to winning with Joe Burrow because Burrow asked for them to keep both and they only paid Chase. But now they pay both of them, and now the narrative flips and the goalpost gets moved. It's a bad decision because now they don't have enough money to ever fill the lead offensive line or a good defense. Like, there isn't multiple ways to winning a championship.